Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for spending some time with me on this Friday. If you've taken time out of your busy schedules to support the channel through comments and likes, I really do appreciate that. All right, so we have had a relief from summer for about a week, and it looks like the forecast for next week is going to get back into the 90s. So the water has cooled off a little bit, enough to really let the fish know that something has happened. You mix in the thermocline, the fishing pressure, the days getting shorter, and bass are little sensory machines, so they feel that, and there's going to be a push of bass moving shallow. Now, there's already plenty of bass that are up in that 2 foot of water, but the problem with those fish, they've been fished for, your buddy's buddy knows about them, they've been catching them there, you've been catching some, they've been hitting the head with 1.5 ounce weights and skipping jigs and all that, and basically anywhere that has docks and lily pads have been fished. Those bass have been pressured. So I always like to fish for the new fish that are coming out of a different region of the lake, and they are moving into a new area for one reason, and that is to feed. Those fish that are under docks and lily pads and they're in 2 feet of water, they're up there, they're lazy, they're not trying to exert a whole lot of energy, so they're just kind of staying put. This group of fish that is now moving shallow with these changing conditions, they are there to feed, so they're going to be a lot easier to catch. Those are the ones that I always like fishing for. So I'm going to give you a couple scenarios when it comes to what I consider a fake fall. We get a few days or a week of cooler weather, those nights that may drop down into the 50s, days that are in the highs of the low 80s, and then we get a week of what it seems like June and July weather. Hot, and it's not real fun to be out there fishing, but there are going to be more fish in places where they haven't been the last couple months. So what I think happens is bass do want to make a push shallow, but then that water doesn't really continue to cool off, actually probably warms back up a little bit. So they just use that deeper cover, but they're still around cover. I think this is a cover-oriented bite. So in grass lakes, this is where this happens very regularly. They will move up shallow where you can catch them on a frog and a buzzbait up in a couple feet of water, but within days, a lot of those fish are gonna pull back out. Like enough of those fish are gonna pull back out to that 5 to 7 foot range to where you can just go look for these bass. Now, it is important this time of year to have game plans in all depth ranges, but it does seem like when you find that magic depth range and you don't have a big weather change, that's where the quality on your lake is going to be. And it's not just grass fisheries. Any type of lake where you have laydowns or maybe runoff or stumps, fish are going to hold on a specific cover in a specific depth range, and that's going to be the size of fish you want to catch. So what you may see is you go up in 2 feet of water with a buzz bait and you're catching smaller fish. Well, when you come out to that deeper water, and however you catch them, if it's a finesse jig or a big flipping jig, whatever it may be, you're seeing just bigger fish out a little bit deeper. And I'm saying relatively deeper. They're going to be like 6 to 4 foot. Opposed to that 2 foot. But those are those new fish coming in that just don't want to get in the mud yet, so they're pulling out. It is a very quality bite when you get on it. Now, again, very important to know when to go shallower and deeper, but I think the key here is you may be on a really good dirt shallow bite, but having some of those places, again, deeper laydowns, grass lines that are out in that 6 to 8 foot range, stumps that may be out in 5 to 7 foot, or anywhere you have runoff where it's like a drain and water is going to be, kind of washing out those areas where you can fish deeper. You can throw it up in 4 feet and fish it all the way out to 8 feet. Those places are very important to find this time of year. Now, I'm going to give you a couple different scenarios. Sunny, calm days, you're going to catch them on certain baits, and then the windy days, you're going to catch them on certain baits. So I'm going to give you a couple of my favorites in both of those. So calm, sunny days, you're not always going to get days like that to go find fish. So it could be vice versa. You may have to find them with the windy baits and then go catch them the day that you need to catch them on Saturday or whatever it may be with the calm, sunny baits, or interchange those two. So here's the deal. When you have calm, sunny days, for me this time of year, it's all about a jig. But don't forget about a drop shot. a little bit longer leader than you're going to use in the spring, but I have netted enough of my co-anglers fish on a drop shot this time of year to realize that that's going to be very important. Now, windier days, I still like a swim jig, but I also do incorporate a spinnerbait, all sizes spinnerbaits, a chatterbait, especially if you're around grass. Very important to get on some type of chatterbait fish, because those are going to be your mid-range fish. And it seems like if your shallow bite falls off, those fish are probably pulling back to the mid-range. So it's always important, especially on grass lakes, to go out there and at least give a chatterbait a good portion of your day. A lipless crankbait, this is a really good bait in either situations. And if you don't have cover on your lake, you can also just go and look for different type of banks. So if you have bluffy style banks, those fish are going to be setting up on those bluffy style banks a little bit deeper than obviously your flatter banks. And then you're going to have your 45-degree angle banks. And those fish are all going to position differently on those banks in different depth ranges. So again, it's all about that magic depth range this time as we're leaving the summer and we're getting into the early fall. So try that. Good luck to you guys, and I'll see you on the water.